given cosine of theta equals negative 5/12 and theta is between pi and 3 pi over 2, find each of the following. Well, the good news is on this problem is that we're given cosine. And if we look back to our formula of cosine, if we look back to our formula of the half angle of sine, that formula is plus or minus 1 minus the cosine of theta divided by 2. So at least for now, I know we still have to do the tangent of theta over 2, but right now we don't even need to draw a picture over here. But I do want to talk about what our answer is going to be, because we need to determine, is our answer going to be positive or is our answer going to be negative? And pi is 180 degrees and 3 pi over 2 is 270 degrees. But what we want to look at is we want to look at one more than 180. So we want to look at 181 degrees. And then we want to look at one less than 270 because we're looking in between. So it's 269 degrees. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut those values in half. So if we take 181 and we divide it by 2, we get 90.5 degrees. And if we take 269 and we divide it by 2, we get 134.5 degrees. Well, we're specifically looking at this, and the question is, what quadrant are both of those at? 90.5 degrees and 134.5 degrees. And what you know is those are in quadrant 2. And is sine positive or negative in quadrant 2? Well, sine is positive in quadrant 2. So our answer to this problem is going to be positive. And now we're going to go back and we're going to fill in our values. So what we have is we have 1 minus cosine. Well, cosine is negative 5/12. It was given to us in the problem. Divided by 2. We're going to pull out our calculator and we're going to type in that value. So alpha y equals, to get to your fraction button, and it's going to be, once again, the 1 minus negative 5/12, and I'm going to go back and delete that here for a minute because I want to put it in fraction form. Alpha y equals negative 5/12, and let me look at my paper, but yes, I'm good. And one more time then, divided by 2. Notice I did not type in the square root, but that gives us 17/24. So we've got the square root of 17/24. And remember, when we're dealing with this, what's going to happen is we're going to have to take the square root of the top of the fraction. We're going to have to take the square root of the bottom of the fraction. Good news, if there's any good news, is that we can't simplify the square root of 17. 24, on the other hand, we can simplify the square root of 24. And I'm going to break it down. This is not the only way that you have to do this problem, but this is 3 times 2, and this is 2 and 2. So when we simplify the square root of 24, what I'm looking for is 2 of the same value. Take out 1. So over here, we still have the square root of 17. But down here, we've got 2. 2 of the same to take out 1. Square root of 6. And the only reason that I do that is to make the numbers just a little bit more manageable, because we're trying to rationalize the denominator. That means we're trying to get the radicals out of the denominator. So we're going to multiply by the square root of 6. And if we multiply by the square root of 6 in the denominator, we have to multiply by the square root of 6 in the numerator, because we're multiplying by a fancy form of 1. 17 times 6 is 102. Down here, this is 2 times the square root of 36. Square root of 6 times square root of 6 is square root of 36. And what does the square root of 36 equal? Well, that equals 6. So this is 2 times 6. And lastly, When we simplify, we get a square root of 102 divided by 12. So now we're going to look at the tangent of theta over 2, and let's write down the formula for the tangent of theta divided by 2. It is 2 tangent of theta divided by 1. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry. It is plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of theta divided by 1 plus the cosine of theta. And the nice part about this problem is, again, it was already in terms of cosine. We are given the fact that the cosine of theta equals negative 5/12. So we can fill that in. But what I want to deal with first, and I want to go back to the top of this page here for a minute, is that we need to know what the sign, positive or negative sign, is of our answer. Once again, we converted the pi and the 3 pi over 2 into degrees. And when we're looking between these two and cutting them in half, because theta divided by 2, there's the half part, we end up to be quadrant 2, which I wrote in that pinkish purple color. Well, in quadrant 2, is tangent positive or negative? It's actually negative. So our answer on this one's going to be negative, but we can fill in these values now. It's going to be negative, and then that's going to be our square root 1 minus. Well, the cosine of theta given to us is negative 5/12. Down in the denominator, it's going to be 1 plus 5/12. And we're going to pull out our calculator. So alpha y equals, and you can put multiple fractions in, as you're going to see me do. But it's going to be 1 plus alpha y equals negative 5/12 divided by 1 minus alpha y equals negative 5/12. And when we type that in, pressing enter here, just checking to make sure that I typed it in correctly, and I'm still looking here, and I didn't. But I can fix it here before I press enter, because it's going to be 1 minus and then down here it's going to be 1 plus, and I'm going to look one last time to make sure. There we go. Press enter. We come up with 17 sevenths. So there, 17 sevenths. Don't forget that we determined at the very beginning of the problem that that's going to be negative. I don't want to forget that negative, and sometimes I do. Just be careful, because we, at least at the end, got to catch up to that. So now we've got that. And I need to write it correctly here. So one more time. Square root of 17 sevenths is negative. But what we need to practice on is, how do we get rid of that radical? But ultimately, what this means first and foremost is that this is negative square root of 17 over the square root of 7. And we want to get rid of the radical in the denominator. So we're going to multiply by a fancy form of 1. Square root of 7 here, square root of 7 there. When we multiply, what we end up with is the square root of 119. 7 times 7 is 49, yep. And then down here, square root of 7 times square root of 7 is the square root of 49. Once again, I don't want to forget my negative, but we're very, very close to finishing here, because we can't simplify the square root of 119. It was 17 times 7, both prime numbers. So we get the square root of 119, and we can't take the square root of 49, which is 7. I'm going to delete it.